Welcome to the Fast Mode podcast series. I'm Tara Neal, and with me today is Ankur Kapoor, the Executive Vice President, Chief Network Officer at T-Mobile US. As the supercharged Un-carrier, T-Mobile US is powered by an award-winning 5G network that connects more people in more places than ever before. With the company's unique value proposition of best network, best value, and best experiences, the telco is redefining connectivity while continuing to drive the next wave of innovation in wireless and beyond. At T-Mobile, Ankur leads the company's end-to-end network strategy and innovation agenda. With over 26 years of global experience in the wireless industry, he is responsible for driving the evolution of T-Mobile's mobile core network, RAN, AI, and automation initiatives, device strategy, emerging technologies, and network labs. Welcome, Ankur. Great to have you on today's episode.
Tara, great to meet you. Thank you for having me over.
Awesome. Okay, so let's dive into the few questions that we have today. Really interesting topics, and I'm sure that you're the best man in the room to address some of these. So let's begin with, what are the biggest 5G advanced capabilities T-Mobile is deploying now, and how are they improving network performance?
Yeah, I think when I think of the 5G advanced capabilities, it's really what I think of is customer centricity and what are the different capabilities we're deploying for them. And really, it's all about networks are now becoming more intelligent and not just a connectivity layer. If you think of the 5G era, it was all mostly about two things: coverage and speed, right? And that was important to get the scale going. But in the 5G advance, it's all about actually predictability, adaptability, and resolving customer pain points in real time. And that's really what the 5G advance is. Like I always say, the best problem is that never makes it to the customer. And that's really what we're doing with the 5G advanced capabilities. Real life examples of some of those are an L4S. You might have heard about this. It's low loss, low latency, throughput scalability. And really, what that does is in real time optimizes your video traffic. Another great example of that would be something that we very recently launched called Dynamic Customer Experience. And imagine when there is lots and lots of people that end up in one place. Everything from a football game to a subdivision football game or a concert, right? And really, what people want at that point of time and expect is to be able to share those moments with their loved ones, is to be able to connect seamlessly. And what we have done on the network, we are one of the platforms that we have called our self-organizing network. We actually follow where customers are. We actually follow where the traffic is, and we make real-time, within-minute changes on the network to adapt to where the traffic is moving. So that's really are some of the examples of the 5G advanced capabilities, and there's many more of them, right? That we have looked at. But these are really kind of the starting points of that, and I'll talk later in the conversation around something that's super cool that we've launched called live translation. But I'll hold on to that one and double click on that in a few minutes.
Wow, interesting. I mean, it's great that you brought up about the new genre of applications which require 5G advanced capabilities. Like, we are right in the midst of a football. It's a major football season right now, and we can appreciate that. Being able to experience all these events in real time, thanks to the capabilities of networks that are able to stream such, I would call, bandwidth intensive content and bring it to our handsets, seamlessly. So, and of course, excited to know about the live translation project that you're going to talk about. But before that, what are T-Mobile's most recent innovations in the network, including the RAN and core, as well as in AI, that are making the biggest impact today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm gonna take you a little bit back in the days, back in the history, because everything that we are doing today, and you started this conversation with T-Mobile is an established 5G leader. We get lots of accolades, not only in North America, but globally, been termed by many of the third-party providers as T-Mobile having the best 5G network. And that really started back in 2020s when we started deploying the 5G network. And there was a few very critical decisions that we made that is actually now enabling us to advance all those capabilities. The first one of that was we decided at that point of time that 5G has to be a 5G standalone. And what I mean by that is it's 5G end to end, all the way from the device to the core network. No strings attached to any of the legacy networks, whether it's 4G or 3G, um, and even the 2G networks. The second decision that we made at that point of time was really a cloud native architecture, because that gives us the ability on the core network to really roll out advanced functionalities in a very, very rapid way. Um, that's really where the journey started, right? Fast forward to today, some of the key functionalities that we have rolled out, kind of real proof points, is network slicing is one of the example. We have over 20 slices deployed nationwide, where everything from low latency to higher throughputs to target bit rates to actual resource partitions and higher priority. Most recently, less than a year ago, we launched a service called T Priority, and that's really is for the first responders in the country. So that's for the policemen, for the doctors, for the firemen. And I always say this to my team: that is the most important connection that we carry, because that one connection could be difference between life and death in many situations in there. And we have launched this T Priority service where if you are a qualified T Priority customer, you get the highest priority on network. The reason we have been able to do that is we are network slicing and the capabilities that we rolled out on 5G Advance. Another proof point that I talked to you about recently is live translation. And imagine you taking a flight. I think a lot of us travel internationally. Imagine you landing in a place where you have some language barriers and your next flight is canceled. And now you need to make a hotel reservation in the middle of night. And that call on the other side cannot understand what you're talking about, right? Because of language issues. If you're a T-Mobile customer and you have this live translation service, you can real time, as long as you are on the T-Mobile network anywhere in the globe, using any handset, and it doesn't matter what other person's handset is or what line they're on, you can actually activate live translation real time. It auto detects, and those are all the capabilities that we have rolled out very recently. I talked a little bit about you said the football season is on, right? The soccer is finals is coming up. Recently, there was 11 different stadiums where soccer games are happening. T-Mobile's network that was tested by completely third-party companies, we actually had the best performance, right? But what happens there is on the game day, right? When thousands and thousands of people show up in the same place, and back to network adapting in real time to their needs, what they're using the networks for, how are they actually adapting to these changing conditions. That's really what we are doing with all the advanced capabilities. So that's something that really excites me. And again, the bottom line of all that is one, which has always been a DNA for T-Mobile, is the customer centricity.
Mhm. Well, I think, usually there are a lot of conversations in sessions like this where we focus on technology alone. But when we see real life applications, I think T priority, it really brings out, the value of all the investments that have gone into developing the next gen wireless networks. We can see that like T priority, I mean, that is like what you said, life and death. So people can appreciate, all those research and building all those networks has never been easy. But when you see the outcomes, you see the impact on people's lives. That is something that we start appreciating all the effort that has gone into it. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and live translation. I mean, yeah, it's a remarkable thing. It's going to help everyone. I mean, we travel a lot, and this is something that it's really handy to have this service, to help us with our experiences abroad. And when we talk about all these innovations, right? You started with cloud native, and then we moved on to network slicing. There's another new technology that's talked about a lot, and that's agentic capabilities, and that ties back to autonomous networks. So, what's your vision for autonomous networks, and which AI automation use cases are you focusing on first?
Yeah, that's a great question. You can't have conversations these days about anything without agentic AI or AI in the as a part of the conversation. So I think we started this journey again many years ago, and this autonomous network. it's pretty simple. I know there's lots of different definitions around autonomous network, but I think at T-Mobile is super clear to us what we want to achieve on autonomous network, and it's able to detect the problem. It's able to actually resolve the problem before the customer sees it, and more importantly, be able to capture the anomalies that you see in the relation. So there's going to be some prediction involved, but real time detection and then real time adaptability of the network to resolve that customer pain point. And AI and agentic AI is actually embedded into every part of our network today. It's in the radio network, it is in the core network, and I'll give you a couple examples of these. And it's actually very much in our operations of how we run and operate the network on daily basis. If I think of this from a radio perspective, I talked a lot about the self-organizing networks and how do we adapt the network, how do we make hundreds and hundreds of parameter changes on real-time basis with zero human intervention. Right? The network gets the KPIs, it gets the actual measurements from the mobile devices of the customers, and it adapts what the best performance would be based on thresholds that we have defined there. Um, and many of the recent events that's been happening in the country, everything from FIFA to football season is coming up on us, the American football season is coming up. MLB is another great example. That's where these things are being used. If you think on the code network on how we are doing AI, we have end-to-end implementation of network slicing already done on the core. So by a click of a button, we can actually define a network slice all the way from the core network to the radio network. So if a customer called us and um, they had a big event, a photojournalism event comes up, or something happens and there's big celebrities going on, they literally have to just call our care agents, and we can activate slice for them in minutes, right? And that could not have been possible without having these AI capabilities. But more importantly, having these AI capabilities and be able to tell the customer that yes, it will work for you. Yes, we can, the only network that can support us. That's really what excites me the most. If I think from the operations perspective, and I said this earlier, I'm going to repeat that. Um, the best problem that we have on the network is that never reaches the customer, because once it reaches the customer, it is obviously something they've experienced, right? And that's where AI is embedded in our operations of the network. Not only we predict something that's actually going to happen, but actually when it happens, we are able to solve it within seconds in many cases and minutes in a few others, right? So that auto adaptability of the network to changing conditions on what's happening to the customer is really kind of how we think about the autonomous network. And last but not the least is, where are we headed with this agentic AI and kind of the autonomous network? One of the other use cases we've been now looking at, and I'm pretty sure T-Mobile will be the first one to bring this to life, is everything that you hear these days about physical AI, right?
Yep.
And a lot of physical AI is being thought of as a 6G. But I think we are starting in our AI RAN journey now. We're starting on our AI autonomous network journey now, and we're already actually in some trials on that.
Wow. When you talked about adaptability, with autonomous networks, you can do that at scale. So, which means that we can support, a lot more workloads, a lot more bandwidth, a lot more applications, a lot more consumers. So, this scale, makes AI and autonomous networks a key enabler as we move forward. And you talked about 6G. You alluded to 6G in just a couple of minutes ago. And I guess 6G is right there staring at us, and a lot of early initiatives are already on into 6G. So how do you see 6G evolving, and what is T-Mobile doing now to prepare for it?
Yeah. I think I'll start with I'm pretty confident that we will be the leaders in 6G era as well. We have been the leaders in 5G era. And the reason I say that with a high level of confidence is because we started designing our networks for 6G with the mindset of AI RAN. We have talked about that, right? As well as 5G advanced network, that we are the only nationwide provider that has 5G advanced rolled out across the country. AI RAN, we made some of these announcements about a year ago in partnership with Nokia, Ericsson, and NVIDIA, where we are actually looking at doing many of these radio workloads on a cell site, but non-radio workloads in the 6G on the cell sites as well. So I don't see 6G as a revolution. I see 6G as more of an evolution of where we are already in the journey. We're already kind of way past the 5G initial era. We're in the 5G advanced nationwide era, now moving to the AI RAN. And I think the 6G transition is going to be super easy. And that's where all this promises of physical AI, humanoids, robotics, everything comes to life. But it's not only about the IoT kind of things. It's not just that. It is actually consumer use cases. Everything from XR, VR, to live translation is a great example of enhancements it can get into the agentic world. Um, and I always think of the agentic AI world is humans times AI is multiplicative. It's not actually additive. It's not a. That's really where the value comes in, right? So that's where our 6G journey is. We were the first one to roll out 5G in North America. We did that back in 2020. That gives us, from a timing perspective, a really big, huge advantage on when do we get on the 6G journey. The specs are still being finalized, but most importantly, taking us from 5G to 5G Advanced to AI RAN, that's really what sets the stage for 6G.
Wow, amazing to know that, we are preparing ourselves, for the world of humanized robots, completely new things from the physical AI. And like what you said, it's not just going to be IoT or things, it's also going to revolutionize human experiences. Human times AI. I love that. I think that's going to be a new catchphrase after this. So, exciting times ahead. And I think, like what you said, T-Mobile is so well positioned to lead the way in this aspect because of the headway that you guys have starting from your leadership in 5G. So I guess all the best to the team and looking forward to hearing a lot more great things from T-Mobile.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about all the great things T-Mobile has done, but more importantly, how we have been on the journey of smashing customer pain points. Thank you for that.
Awesome. And to everyone tuning in, thank you guys for listening. If you want to learn more, visit www.tmobile.com and follow us for more updates and insights as we continue to uncover the latest in technology and telecommunications. See you in our next episode. Bye-bye.